Okay, hey everybody. This is Grace, and I'm on my way to go to the bank. One of my banks. And you have to deposit the money from one of my jobs. One of the app jobs, I don't know. From one of them, services, I guess. And it's supposed to be direct deposited into it. That bank account I had opened for that purpose, and they're not. They're putting it on a card. So, and I haven't done that since probably last year, and I keep getting this notice from them. I'm not saying which one it is, but I keep getting this notice from them, and the notice makes no sense, which is not unusual. Absolutely no sense. And what was the difference now? So I'm thinking maybe I reached a certain amount that they don't like people having that on the card more than that. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense, and it isn't even saying anything that would say that. It's just the only thing I could think. So really, although I talk Texan, I am very well versed. Well, you got a little close there, didn't you? But real life happens, But anyway, I'm going to go do that, and I got to go to an ATM and then go from the ATM to the bank. I don't like having cash on me at all. Seriously, I don't carry cash. So, yeah, I think I have $1 and then a bunch of quarters, nickels, dimes, and stuff like that, including in my SUV. You hear it? So, just in case. Case what you say, exactly. I mean, whatever cost $1 or anything less than that, ever anymore. So, and now one of the things I want to talk about, and I've mentioned a little bit of this here and there, and that is about, I don't know, I don't know where that's coming from. I have no idea. It's nowhere around me, so I'm going. I don't know if you heard that alarm or not, but I didn't see it, and maybe they pulled somebody over. Anyway, what I want to talk about is this. What would you even call it? Like old wives' tales, but not old wives' tales. I don't know. I hear a lot of these mixed with another thing I hear a lot lately is that of people thinking that that like any customer or any consumer of anything would automatically already know. Oh, somebody, that same phone number keeps calling me. Anyway, it's just spam. But anyway, that everybody would automatically know some place of businesses, protocols, their whole way of operating, and the whole meaning behind everything. And we should automatically know this. Okay, and of course we don't. But I have a Bubba truck on my tail. Yeah, pretty much nothing unusual. They get too close. Usually have their lights on, even in the daytime, on bright. Look, hey, he backed off and doesn't have his brights on. Anyway, this whole start of this is just all kinds of wrong, which is my usual. So if you watch me, you know that. But anyway, so these like old wives' tales or whatever. I actually got a note. Well, I don't know what you call it, notification maybe, an email. It wasn't actually an email, but about from my doctor's office. Okay, the practice. And they said they don't do old wives' tales. And I'm like, really? Now, these aren't, like I said, not exactly old wives' tales. Just stuff, to me, in my opinion, I could be wrong, that maybe somebody, like one of them, it has to do with medical insurance. Now, I've actually heard, well, years ago when it all started, the Affordable Care Act and all that, I heard from the doctor that I had before that she said, we don't take those insurances. Well, when I got my insurance all these years later, this other one, through the Affordable Care Act, the Affordable Care, which is from what I understand through the federal government. And remember, I'm not an expert on all this, so I'm just saying what I think and what I heard and all this, you know, and all of these. Anyway, and I don't, although I tend to record conversations these days, yeah, I'm not going to show them for proof. Yeah. Okay, not on this video, of course, is what I'm meaning. But some of the stuff I heard, let me go in here first. Okay, I went to use the ATM, and their limit was, I did not know, it was 300, and I have just over 1,000 on that, deposited on that one, and so I'll probably have to go to somewhere else or something like that, and get cash. I've been using it mainly for that one, for Temu. Some would call it, even I called it at first, Temu, TEMU.com, not sponsored, for you know, buying different things, mainly clothing, for like doing these jobs with the pockets in front. They're hoodies, the ones so far, both the thick hoodies and then the shirt hoodies. I'm wearing one right now, just their regular shirts, but it's a hoodie and it has the pockets in front. I don't care for the hood, but it's the pockets that I really like for when I'm doing these deliveries. So I can put my cell phone in there while I have so much of my hands. You know, my hands aren't all that big, so to carry so much stuff sometimes, and trying to organize all that, pockets will do fine. I've thought about actually trying to find like I don't know if they're aprons, but I know men, or not men, anybody who does electrical work, they have theirs. I don't want one like that. I want one that's kind of shape, but for, you know, kind of like an apron, but a half apron. I don't know. Not my area, you know. But anyway, so where was I? You know, this stuff about, you know, going to the doctor's office. Let me get to this point. You know, here that I was talking about that. I've heard different stories than what you hear when I called that same doctor I had years ago. The one that she told me flat out, they don't accept those. Well, it just started, and she smirked like, she's younger than I by probably 10 years. Well, she smirked like it was such a big deal. Well, now if a doctor is actually on a plan, it seems like some of them, as time went by, they got on these plans because a lot of people were getting them instead of paying outrageous prices for crap. Or they were, you know, it could be that, or it could be because so many laws have changed about people being on Medicaid and who need to be on Medicaid, that they had to go that route to be subsidized or whatever it is. I don't know all of that stuff, okay? But to get affordable health care or free or whatever, you know, whatever it is. And so anyway, so they started taking these plans from, I'm guessing, this is going to be fiction because I don't know for certain 100%. Anything you don't know 100% fact is fiction, you know, until there's some fact. But anyway, so I called that again after I got this insurance just recently. You know, last year I called, and a real prissy guy, real, like, he was superior and all that. And I'm really tired of calling doctor's offices or medical clinics or whatever, and the person on the other end acts so superior. I don't care what is their pronoun, acting all superior. No, you're not all superior, period. Anyway, if anybody, I've heard stories, I can vouch for myself on that. So okay, I can't see because of you, thank you. But anyway, let me see. Yes, I can go. Yes, I can go. So I called that one. This prissy guy told me, he said, well, which plan do you have? And I said, I told him which plan that I have. And he says, well, we only allow a certain amount of you people with that insurance. I said, and how do you get away with that? No, really, how do you get away with it? He, you know, laughed at me. I said, yeah, I don't think that's right. So anyway, so I called, you know, in the feds, you know, appropriate federal office for this, and I was told flat out that would be medical insurance, healthcare insurance discrimination. I was not wrong. Yeah, he was. I never called back, but I had called a bunch of other places that day, and I haven't called back to inform them of their prejudices that lead to discrimination, and or just I haven't done that. But my thought, like I said, this would have to be fiction because I don't know for certain, is that way back when it all started, some office manager either called or just decided that would be the case, that they would only allow a certain amount of people with that because of their own political views back then, and they would only allow, you get that word right, and the whole meaning behind it, the connotation, all of it, allow a certain amount of you people who have it in. And that spread like wildfire or wildflowers or whatever you call it. Oh my goodness, what the crap. But you get what I'm saying. And so they just kept it. Nobody's questioned it. Hey, I called the appropriate people, the state, and they connected me to the Department of Labor. It wasn't a Department of Labor problem. And that person said, at least the person who answered, I don't know his name, said they do that all the time. So, of course, I have nothing to back that up, but that's what I was told. So, that kind of thing, when they just take somebody's word on it and it spreads like wildflowers. Yeah, but I'm going to tell you why I think this. When I was a career student, over 20 years at university, to college, to university, all that, depending on where I was living at the time and what they had. I worked for, medical offices, usually as an interim office manager, okay, and hold on, stop here before I go to the bank. I gotta remember to go to the bank. I don't like having cash on me. I don't, even though it's only $300. I don't. I'd planned on getting $500. Anyway, so when one of them I worked at as an office manager, interim, and a surgery scheduler. Okay, I scheduled surgeries for the doctor. Okay, and it was spinal, ortho. I did ortho, neuro, and spinal. Worked for them, and so I made up. He kept telling me, "Well, make sure when you call him, you tell him this, and make sure he come back a little later. Make sure." So I was writing them all down, And so at some point I said, I'm going to make myself a little sheet of, what questions need to be asked, and all that. And, so I have it, and I have it right there. This is what he said, so I'm not doing anything wrong. He said these, and I was not going to forget. It's a checklist. And before I knew it, I had gotten one back. Somebody had somehow made a copy. I don't know how they got a copy of what I wrote. It was in my writing. Okay. And they made us their own little spreadsheet and verbatim, and it got passed back around to me from a woman who was the office manager that I had worked for, and I could not stand. She was one that would fire everybody or get this bully of a woman that made me look like teeny tiny, and I've mentioned that I'm a gentle giant of a woman. She made me look teeny tiny, and they get her to harass, and she harassed me. And I said, screw this, I don't need this job. And I didn't need that job. Actually, I did need that job. That's the story behind that one. But I wasn't with Adam at the time. That's a short version. We weren't, I was on my own, running away from trying to hide from a stalker who had threatened my family. So, I told you there was a story behind it. Oh my goodness, what a mess that was. And then a crazy woman who was causing the problem that we had to call. I had to call the police to try to save Adam from it, and the police didn't catch on what he was trying to say. with his eyes. Oh man, I got stories, man. I have stories. I don't usually say it. As I mentioned, I don't tell the good ones. But anyway, but those are the short versions, very short. So anyway, so I'm saying things get spread around in these offices. I mean, I know, you know, my master's degree is in sociology. It didn't have to be. I mean, to be able to figure this out. But how would I know, right? Because I already have one. But a lot of the stuff is just by word of mouth, you know, just spreading around rumors kind of thing, or, you know, these checklists. Just next thing I know, I'm getting facts back to me, people filling out for themselves. Hey, wait a minute, where'd you get this? I really don't know how they got it. I really don't know how they got it. Or just anything that I made, you know, anything that yeah, let's just leave it there. And things I'd heard, like when I was in my 20s, I'm 60. When I was in my 20s, maybe 25, a doctor told me what was not exercise, and I was like, are you? And I was doing electrical work. I said, I've worked many crazy jobs. I was known as that damn female electrician because I really was up to code, real neat, real fast at it. Made a buku of money, you wouldn't believe. Yeah, doing electrical work, apartment residential, you know, residential, and there were apartments, not houses. A lot of money. And anyway, just I was doing that kind of work. Apartments 3 stories up and everything, going up and down these stairs, going. I always have to think. I think it was called rough and trim. Yeah. And doing both of those, and you're up and down, up and down, up and down all day long. But that was not exercise to this doctor. That was not exercise. I'm like, what the ever living? Because you do the same thing you do it every day. No, I don't do it every day. And you don't do the same thing on any day. But he would. So all these years later, I hear it again from doctors or nurse practitioners and everything. They say the same thing. Well, housework is an exercise. And you wonder if they've ever done, any of them, the doctor, there was a male doctor, the nurses, have any of them ever done an honest day's work? Seriously, I don't have problems with doing jobs, obviously, different kind of jobs. I did so many different kind of jobs back then. And I don't have a problem with it. People, you know, Adam, he basically is saying that he doesn't want his family to know what I'm doing for my health care insurance, doing these deliveries, because it's such an embarrassment to him. But he enjoys going with me. Gets him out of the house. He gets to see all these new places. I'm the same way, but he doesn't mind going with me. But it's such a shame to him and his family. Yeah, you're degreed. You should have something else. You know, I'm doing this for health purposes because I can't sit at a computer or stand for long or anything because I have really bad edema. And so I'm doing this to where I can go home when I need to you know, elevate my legs. And I have a hurt hip, my right one. I don't know how I did that. Probably from getting in and out of the SUV. And so I can't just find any place to elevate my legs, okay? Yeah. And, but, you know, to him, he thinks his family would be so judgmental and they would be right. Like, screw them and that. Yeah. You get what I'm saying. Okay, anyway. You know, things I hear like that, like housework isn't exercise. What do you live in? An apartment with just one loft or something? Or just those, like when I was doing electrical work, I worked on some in downtown Georgia, Atlanta in Georgia. And they were just boxes, really long little boxes, not even all that long, but they were made into apartments. And boy, man, yeah, they were teeny tiny. Maybe that's what they live in, where you don't really, you know, you don't really have much. I live in a 2-story house. Yeah, although I can't go up. I don't have any reason to go upstairs anymore. So, and with my knees, I don't go upstairs. So, but I'm doing this for my health, and I enjoy it. This is probably one of the best little part-time jobs. Little, as if it's little, but part-time jobs, probably the best. Really, because like I said in another video, I've been invited to so many people's houses. just to the front door, but still. But it's very interesting to me as a sociologist, my master's is in sociology, and it's really interesting to me to see how just you can tell so much on some of these by just their front door, just the stuff they have outside their front door, or like the really scary ones I've mentioned, spooky, creepy, those kinds, how they're set up. Some scary stuff I've seen, seriously. Only once, I think, I was by myself. No, twice. Okay. But no, once. Yeah. Adam, like I said, when I first started, he would come with me for safety reasons. And now he does because he likes to get out and see all these new houses and all these different places. And, we went to one yesterday. It was in McKinney, Texas, in one neighborhood. And it was obviously very wealthy people. I mean, I'm talking your 1%. And very, very beautiful homes. I would have never seen that. Would have never known that it existed. So this is just like, wow to me. You see what I'm saying? Wow. But anyway, speaking, I better get busy. I got to go to the bank, deposit that money, and see if I get any work. I need to go and get my insulin also. Today's the day of the eclipse, so I have to remember when the lights turn off. I'm not worried about myself. I'm worried about some people who just are, kind of off the grid. They don't really watch TV, the news, because, yeah, that can happen. And then all of a sudden they're driving down the road and the lights turn off. The big, huge light in the sky turns off, That would be kind of spooky. You got to think about it. Are you in a scary movie? Kind of like when you back up and you're at nighttime and your backup light looks like a scary movie scene. Yeah. Anyway, wrapping it up. Talk to y'all in another video. Bye. Okay. I just delivered one. And I live in this neighborhood, and it was delivered here. And it was, as it turned out, it was only a soda. And I got suspicious, and since I'm going home anyway, I live in the neighborhood, so I stayed there, and I was talking, making video of it, because I got burned before, and well, it was so suspicious. Then another guy came and delivered something, and he delivered, and I had been sitting there for at least 10 minutes at that time, and they said, don't, it's a dog home. I didn't hear any dogs. My dogs, they suspect somebody's there. They're going to bark. They hear something down the road, they bark. And I delivered the soda. Somebody else came and picked up, not came and picked up one of them. I'm getting ahead of myself. But somebody else came and delivered something. And I was thinking that was suspicious, because guess what? It was one of those, I thought it was going to be a teenager, but it was one of those silver, gray silver car, 4-door cars. I'm telling you, I've mentioned so many times about those things. They're suspicious because I see them so many times, so many places. It's not the same make or model, but it is a cheap one, usually cheap. An inexpensive one, and they're old. This is Texas, okay? People don't usually drive that, and it's the same color. Anyway. Okay, so it's a good 30 minutes or so since I delivered that, and I'm, like I said, I live in the neighborhood, so I'm just kind of driving around looking at the nice sunset. They finally picked it up, but 30 minutes later. And it's suspicious. Some of these things I see, I understand why people are suspicious. Like I said, I live in the neighborhood, so no biggie. It's not like I'm, just hanging out. But I had this weird feeling before I left. I said, I was thinking about how easy it is. And I had looked at the other one that gave me a contract violation. It was some teenagers pulling a prank. I know it. I know it because they took it off, that order, off of my account. I can no longer see it. And they did not deposit. Either didn't deposit or took it back. And they're wanting me to sign a contract that overrides my old contract. Yeah. I haven't worked, and that was last year. I haven't worked for them since then. I'd stopped that day. They gave me a contract violation, did not work again. So I know what I'm talking about is fact. And yeah, you know, some people are in other countries, especially like ones with dictatorships, and they pay them to, you know, basically be the gatekeepers and, you know, put us on hold however many minutes and stuff like that, or just take the money back. And they go, well, you know, to lie, especially the lies, the saying that we have a team that works on it and will escalate it, and they don't do crap. They just take it off. And they took it off after I made a comment to the woman. She was supposedly a manager that had called me back. Now they told me she was going to call me, and then she called me back, and I told her at the end of it, I said, so in other words, what you're telling me is I need to contact the police and report it to them. Oh, no, don't do that. And then she hung up on me. Very suspicious, yeah. By the way, the police, they don't know that this stuff happens. They had no idea that one, they never heard of it. He was around my age. You know, he never even heard of such a thing. Anyway, this was suspicious. I want to see what happens, but I don't know. I don't know if I'll hear anything, you know, because I'm calling everything the same thing that I've heard the names, like contract violation, no matter what service it is, or bonus, or, you know, something common. But I don't know. We'll see. Okay, and what I was saying was I had this really odd feeling. I don't believe in, you know, premonitions and stuff like that, but I had this really odd feeling because I looked that up. And I just wanted to see what happened to it, because, you know, I'm doing my taxes, that kind of thing. And wanted to see if they still have a contract violation, you know, whatever they call them, whichever one it is. I don't name them at all. Did you know also that you can't, while I'm on that subject, that one of the contracts on one of them, I got sent new contracts on both. But on both. Two of them, not the other one. The other one, I don't know what they do. I have more than one, but those are the main ones. But anyway, but they say that you basically can't do screenshots and use that. In other words, they really don't want you to be able to defend yourself. I take since that day, I take video, I take screenshots, you know, showing me right there at the address. And if something is suspicious, I try to remember to do that. Look at this beautiful sunset, really. But I try to remember to do it every time. Sometimes there's stuff going on in different places, you know, stuff around me. Might jump out and not do it on time, you know, before it disappears. But I make, like somebody come out and to my SUV. That's one of those things where you don't really get a chance, but I'll take a picture of the whatever I can, you know. I'm got so much in my head, it's all trying to come out at the same time. But by the way, today was the eclipse day here in Texas, north central Texas, and I actually did a video on it, but because it's a camera, it made it lighter than what it was. And I did not take a picture of the eclipse exactly, just around, you know, the eclipse was like right above, you know. The sun doesn't do the daylight savings time kind of thing. It was supposed to happen at 1:40, and so it was a little bit above, but a little skewed into one side, just a little. Like I said, it doesn't do the daylight savings time and all that. So, anyway, sun and the moon. It was nice. It was eerie. Then one of my dogs, I was out in the backyard. One of my dogs, the pit bull terrier, American pit bull terrier, he had the zoomies after that when it got light again. He was like, "What the?" It was so cute. But he got the zoomies. I was outside, and when they get the zoomies, the other one knocked me down when he got the zoomies when he was younger, and hurt me. Yeah. Hurt my nose, my shoulder, and yeah, it was pretty bad. Anyway, it's so beautiful out here. But I want to see it. Like I said, I had that kind of weird feeling that there was going to be something suspicious of, you know, happening, and that was the only order I had, and I really wasn't all that interested in doing any deliveries. It was only going to be about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Really didn't feel like I wanted to We're going to have a storm coming up. We're supposed to have a storm coming up. It was supposed to rain all day today too, but it didn't. And anyway, it's supposed to be a terrible storm. Possible tornadoes, I think. Do you see it? It's going to be here in 17 minutes. Anyway, I shouldn't laugh because the next thing I know, boom. But I don't know what I've missed. I had so many things I wanted to get out, and now I've forgotten the one that I was just about to say. Man. But yeah, I was thinking that I had that feeling, just a weird feeling, and I don't believe in premonitions. Like I said, people tell me that I have premonitions, but they told me that since I was young. You know, that I have the gift of premonitions. I don't see it that way. So I just see it as because of my degrees, especially, and because of my life, as it has been. But my degrees, I'm more in tune on what's going on. Usually I'm not perfect. Like I'm suspicious. You know, I feel suspicious of what actually wound up happening. Now, why I had it beforehand, I don't know. Or some would say, well, maybe I made that up. No, it was too suspicious. 30-something minutes before the customer comes out, and it was 30 minutes at least. The customer comes out and gets the order, and it has a name I've never even heard of before. I've heard of one similar to it, but they just took the first letter and changed it to another one that I've never heard of. So, yeah. And the one that I had delivered before and you got the contract violation, it wasn't in this area, but it was in a nice area like this too. And, you know, some kids think they're entitled to do whatever they want, any kind of prank. Maybe they just didn't really want the food. I mean, who leaves their food sitting outside for 30 minutes? I don't. That would be, you know, I only delivered a soda. Who's going to leave a soda outside for 30 minutes? This is Texas. It was 80-something. It's 81 right now. 80-something degrees. The feels like was over 90. Who would do that? Yeah, but anyway, I think I'm going to go home now. Like I said, I live here. I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.